They called her just the help. To most people in that mansion, she was invisible. Someone who carried trays, cleaned floors, and knew her place. But one choice changed everything. A billionaire's only son had been offered the hands of 5 wealthy daughters. Every match was perfect on paper: status, beauty, money. Yet, he turned them all down. And instead, he chose her, the black maid no one thought was worthy of standing beside him. What could she possibly have that the richest families in the city didn't? The answer would shatter reputations and expose truths they'd tried to keep buried for years. Her name was Amara Daniels. 24 years old, quiet, and careful with her steps in a house that never truly saw her. Every morning, she polished silver cutlery until it gleamed like mirrors, arranged flowers she'd never be allowed to take home, and served meals at a table where her presence was only noticed if she made a mistake. Outside the mansion's tall gates, her world was small. A shared apartment, a few close friends, and a younger brother she worked extra shifts to support. She kept her head down, avoided trouble, and told herself that was enough. But that fragile peace was already cracking. Because in the same house where she folded linen and poured champagne, decisions were being made. Decisions that would force her into a spotlight she never asked for, and make her the target of whispers that could ruin her life. It started with a list. 5 names. All daughters of families with fortunes built over generations. Each one was beautiful, educated, and presented as the perfect match for Daniel Cross, the only son of billionaire investor Graham Cross. The house buzzed with talk of engagements, photographs, and the merging of empires. Amara barely paid attention. She was too busy cleaning crystal glasses in the dining room, listening to the hum of conversation from the study. But then she heard her own name. Not in a whisper. Not in a joke. Her name, spoken clearly by Daniel himself. At first, she thought she misheard. But when she glanced toward the doorway, she saw the stairs, sharp, dissecting, and filled with disbelief. Daniel had rejected all 5 daughters. And instead, he'd said he wanted her. The maid. The black maid. The silence that followed was heavy, but it didn't stay quiet for long. The mansion's corridors became rivers of venomous whispers. It's a stunt. He's rebelling. She's trapping him. Staff who'd once greeted her with polite nods now avoided her eyes. Others made sure she overheard their muttered insults. Graham Cross didn't confront her at first. He didn't have to. The icy distance from the family made her every step inside that house feel like trespassing. But it was Daniel's mother, Eleanor, who struck the first open blow. One evening, as Amara served tea in the drawing room, Eleanor's voice cut through the air like glass. We welcome all kinds of people here, but some roles are simply not meant to be exchanged. Amara's hand tightened on the tray. She wanted to speak, but the room was full of people. People whose smiles hid knives. She knew the risk. One wrong word, and she'd lose her job, her home, and the income that kept her brother in school. Still, the cruelty didn't stop there. The next day, her schedule shifted without warning. She was moved from serving in the dining hall to cleaning storage rooms in the farthest corner of the estate, out of sight. Pay was cut. Hours stretched long. It was punishment without anyone saying the word. Yet Daniel wouldn't let it end. He kept seeking her out, at the stables, the garden, the back kitchen. Each time, she told him to stop. She knew what the rumors could cost her. But he only grew more determined, telling her there was more to his choice than anyone knew. And then came the gala. Dozens of guests, photographers, and business partners filled the mansion. Amara had been told to stay in the back rooms, far from the party. But in the middle of the evening, Daniel walked into the service corridor, took her hand and said, "You need to be out there." When she refused, he didn't let go. Instead, he pulled her into the main hall, right into the blaze of chandeliers, the cameras, and the stairs. Gasps rose from the crowd. Someone muttered her name. Eleanor's face went pale. And in that single moment, Amara knew, this wasn't just about affection. Daniel was making a statement so bold it could break both of them. What she didn't know was that the real fight was only just beginning. The music stopped. All that was left was the sound of cameras clicking and a low murmur spreading through the room like smoke. Daniel stood beside her, unshaken. Amara's hand was still in his, but her pulse thundered against her skin. Then Graham Cross stepped forward. His gaze swept over the crowd before locking onto her. "Release her," he said, voice cold and deliberate. Daniel didn't move. "This is my choice." The air thickened. Guests shifted uneasily, sensing the invisible line being crossed. That's when it started, quiet at first, then louder. A single word, spat like poison from somewhere in the crowd. Then another. Words she'd heard before, each one dripping with the same message: "You don't belong here." Every insult burned, but she stood her ground. She'd been silent too many times before. Not tonight. Eleanor stepped in now, her diamond bracelet catching the light as her hand trembled. Not from fear, but from fury. "You're making a spectacle of yourself," she told her son, her voice sharp enough to slice through the air. "And you," she turned to Amara, "should remember your place before you lose it entirely." Amara's breath caught, but she didn't look away. If she backed down now, she would confirm everything they believed about her. Then, Daniel's voice broke through the tension. "If she leaves, I leave too." Gasps. A ripple of disbelief. And in that moment, Amara saw the calculation in Graham's eyes. Not about love. Not about right or wrong. About power, reputation, and control. She realized the truth. This wasn't just about her and Daniel. This was about the unspoken rules of who was allowed to rise and who was expected to remain invisible. And tonight, in front of everyone, they were breaking that rule. The war for her dignity had just gone public, and there was no turning back. He survived that night. But survival didn't mean it was over. The fear still followed him, like a shadow that never left. Even in the safety of his own home, the sound of a sudden knock made his chest tighten. The memory of those eyes, those words, that power pressed against him without reason, it was burned into his mind. In the days that followed, people told him to just move on. But how do you move on from a truth you can't unsee? That moment was not just about him. It was a mirror showing the reality faced by so many. His pain was a page in a book that's been written for generations. The incident sparked conversations in his community, some uncomfortable, some long overdue. Friends reached out. Strangers sent messages. A few tried to deny it, to explain it away. But the video told the truth. The world had seen it. And once you see, you can't unsee. He realized that staying silent would only allow the cycle to continue. So he spoke. At schools. At rallies. Online. His story wasn't just his anymore. It belonged to everyone who had been silenced, overlooked, or erased. But here's the question we all have to face. How many more stories like his will it take before change is more than a promise? How many more voices must be raised before equality stops being an idea and starts being a reality? Because if we look away now, we're not just ignoring his pain, we're choosing to let it happen again. If his story moved you, don't let it end here. Share it. Talk about it. Challenge the conversations that make people uncomfortable, because silence protects the problem, not the person. Stand with those who are still fighting to be heard. And if you've ever thought, "This isn't my problem," remember, justice only works when it's everyone's problem.